Hey everybody, this is Jeremiah with Sharks and Lasers Designing Engraving. Um, Let me start by saying, I get a little bit of anxiety with talking and stuff like that, so I'm sorry if I say a lot of ums or, it's just hard to understand what I'm saying. I'll get better over time, but this is why I don't have very many videos yet. So I'm not gonna edit this video or do anything to it. So if I make mistakes when I'm talking or something, again, I apologize. So this video is just gonna be covering how to prep and you just prepare for engraving the designs that I post on my Patreon. And I'm keeping it very simple. I'm not gonna use any external programs like ImageR here or anything like that. Simply just opened up Lightburn. I'm using an old version right now on this computer inside, but I'm gonna be upgrading both of the versions I have here really soon. Either way, go File, Open, then go to the directory where you have the images downloaded or saved or whatever you're working on. Then you're going to want to come down to here where it says Lightburn files, and you're going to want to do all supported, right? So now it'll show up images, not just Lightburn files, but images and designs that you already have ready. I'm going to choose the Pennywise from my Voodoo Dolls series that I'm working on currently. And you can see because the resolution is so high that it looks monstrous when you first load it. So you just click anywhere on the actual image, just tap one time. Then we're going to come up here and we're going to set this for 150 millimeters by 150, something a lot more manageable, probably like 6 inches by 6 inches, I think, something like that. Either way, so now we got the size set. That's all good. And you're going to want to bring up your box for cuts and layers. And you're going to be double clicking on it to bring up the settings for it. So this will be the settings for this design right here. Now this is based on my OLM3 diode laser, Ultra Laser Master 3 diode laser. So these settings aren't perfect because this example is going to be, we're going to say that we're going to be engraving this on slate, right? So I engrave my slate using my fiber laser. So the settings aren't going to be exactly perfect. And also it's set, that's why it's set for millimeters instead of inches. But either way, so let's just go through everything though really quick. Your speed, if you're using a diode especially, but even using a fiber laser, because of timing, and your timing might not be perfect, you can simply lower the speed. If it's a slower speed, the laser bounce won't be as bad. So it's really just as simple as that. Whether mechanical or like the bar going left and right, the actual laser module going left and right, or even with the fiber from bouncing as it's going across to scan each line. Either way, basically what I'm getting at with your speed is I never use a speed that's even half as fast as the maximum speed of the laser. For my that's specifically for doing HD engraving though. Like you can change it much faster for doing other things, vectors, whatever. But when you're trying to make every single pixel count, you do not. I use about a third of whatever the maximum speed is for my diode. I don't remember. I think it's probably 15,000. And honestly, 5,000 is definitely the highest I would go. 5,000 millimeters a minute, not like I said, right now it's set for seconds, but if it was set for minutes, I would put the 5,000 would be the highest I would set it for, even though the max for my laser is 15,000. Again, that's only for HD designs, so I don't want anybody to get confused. All right, so now let's look at power. So your power, you're simply going to adjust your power based on the speed. You're going to set your speed and leave it alone. Say you're doing slate and you feel it comfortable at 4,000 millimeters a minute. Set it for 4,000. Then you adjust your power based on the speed that you're trying to engrave it at. That's when it comes to slate or inverted stuff. When it comes to wood, there's a little bit more to it. Either way, let's move on. So now we want this to be a negative. If the surface is dark and when you engrave it, it's light, that means you need to engrave it as a negative. For instance, slate is black, especially if you put a coat of black paint over it, it's dark or black, and when you engrave it, it engraves lighter than the surface color. So right there, you want it to be negative. If it's something like wood, where it could be light to a little bit dark, and when you engrave it, it engraves darker, then you want negative image off, right? I hope that makes sense. So we're pretending we're doing this on slate, so we're putting negative image on. For my diode, this is what we would be using, 423 DPI. That's because based on the laser module, OLM3 standard laser module, it can go up to 508 DPI, but you never want to use the max DPI that you can go up to because of overburn. Almost everything has at least a little bit of overburn, and then you'll lose contrast and stuff like that on the image. So you don't want to overburn it ever. So instead of using 508, which is the max, I'm going to use 423 DPI. Your scan angle, you always want it to be left to right when you're using a diode laser. 95, 99% of diode lasers are meant to be run left to right because there's two sets of wheels, and it's way more consistent. The movements are than your actual laser module axis is. So the consistent, you want it to be left to right. I don't know if that makes sense. Just trust me on this one. You want it to be either 0 or 180. Now, image mode, first of all, make sure that you have pass-through off. If you're not using an external program like ImageR or anything like that, you need to turn pass-through off, and you're going to be selecting your dither right here where it says image mode. That's where you select the dither at. You have to dither it. You don't want to use grayscale or anything unless you're very advanced and the image is already specifically made for grayscale engraving. Because there's a big difference. Now, I don't know what dither is, but the ones that you'd be looking at is Atkinson, Stuckey, and Jarvis for the most part. This is pretty much the standard ones that you're going to be using if you're dithering it in Lightburn. And the most standard ones is just Stuckey and Jarvis. Stuckey is a slightly lighter dither than Jarvis. Jarvis will pull out the details a little bit more, but that means it can pull out the mistakes a little bit more too. So if there's pixelation in your design, Jarvis is going to show that more. But if you're using my HD designs, I smooth them out and enhance them. I do everything, so it's very, very nice. So you can just use Jarvis with any of my designs. With that being said, if you're new to engraving, you always want to use the same dither at first. Until you get comfortable with what you're doing, you don't want to add any extra variables that you don't have to, meaning Stuckey or Jarvis. These are just different variables as far as the dither goes. So once you get more comfortable with either using ImageR Cassia or Lightburn Jarvis, say you do 100 engravings using them, then you can start playing with the other dithers and see how the different effects, how it affects each image differently. All right, so that's pretty much it. Number of passes is going to be 1. No, don't ever mess with dot width correction. Just make sure you keep it off. I keep it off doing my fiber and my diode. There's just no reason. It's just more stuff. If you really feel like you're super knowledgeable and you're ready for ultra advanced stuff, you can try playing with it. But I would just keep it off always. I don't ever use that. Okay. That's it. That's all the settings there. So with that, everything is ready. And all you'll have to do is hit the play button and you're ready to engrave. I hope this helped a little bit at least. And thank you very much for watching. Please, if you don't mind, hit like and subscribe. It'll let me know that people are, this is helpful and people are watching it, and that it's worth my time to try to make videos to help people. Thank you guys. Have a great day.